got my wife is Robin, and she had CAR T in 2016. As a caregiver, I was really glad to be at the hospital and be able to ask the why and why not questions. And so I think it's important to have a caregiver there to ask these questions when the patient may not be able to ask those questions. So my message to potential CAR T patients is you can too. It's possible. And I'm so glad we did that. And I'm so glad we did it mainly because I have my wife back and we're back to living life. We think we made the right choice and we're very, very happy with it. Now, Robin and I administer a Facebook group that has 2,300 members who are all CAR T patients or caregivers. And just today, 2 people said they'd gotten scans and were in remission still at different stages. And it's just so rewarding to be able to hook them up with each other. So I'm so happy for CAR T. It was the miracle that we were looking for. And I know it's not the miracle for everybody, but it has been for a lot of people. Faith helps a lot of people. It's important. I think counseling helps a lot of people. I had a Friday morning men's group that I met with and was able to share with them without a lot of judgment. People handle you going through this differently. And when you come out the back end, a lot of people don't know what to do then, because now you're no longer sick. You're actually well. And what are you going to do? And so I have advised a lot of folks through the group to use counselors. And I think that's okay to find somebody smart to talk to and just unload this with somebody who might be able to help you, or at least to listen. But I will say, I used to drive around. There were months and months and months where I would drive around and I was convinced I was going to lose my wife. And I had mentally written and rehearsed her eulogy. It was going to be a stem winder. You'd have to know Robin to understand the impact she's had on people, her patients, and people in the community. And I don't rehearse that anymore. I haven't thought about that in over 3 years. So that's hope, is that you're not rehearsing your loved one's eulogy. You're planning your next vacation. And I hope everybody who's out there can make that transition like we did.
My name is Maxine.
And my name is Dave, her husband. And I've been with her for the whole ride. As far as the side effects go, well, Maxine, of course, doesn't remember them. And we were told that she wouldn't. I was not prepared to see my wife go through what she went through. I think my wife, based on what they tell me, she had one of the really severe reactions to the treatment because, frankly, I was afraid I was losing my wife. And I can't describe how terrified I was watching her in that state. And then she gradually started coming out.
Because I really don't remember a lot.
Thank God.
That's why Dave, I let him do most of the talking because he was there, he knows, and I thank the Lord for that.
The results of the treatment are wonderful. Really, I mean, really wonderful. I mean, when Maxine had the stem cell, we thought we were done. And then he came back. But this time around, so far, like I said, we're at the two-year mark. And as of last week, the CAT scan she had last week, she's still clean and clear of cancer. So, it's worth it. It was worth it.
Yes.
It definitely was worth going through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
We do have family that was supportive over the phone and all of that stuff. Yeah. I'm a spiritual person, so I prayed a lot as a caregiver myself. I would certainly, stress to them that, look, there's no telling how much of this neurotoxicity your loved one is going to go through. However, it can get really, really frightening at times. You're going to see a person that you don't recognize, and they won't recognize you. They are going to go, if they have a bad case of the neurotoxicity, it's going to be a bit overwhelming. I would encourage them to have more than just yourself there, if possible. It's not always possible to have other people there with you. But I would certainly encourage them to have as much of a support system as you can on site. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I'm glad we went through it. You know, thank God she had a CAT scan last week and she's still cancer free. So we thank God for it. But it was rough. It's actually something we don't even think about, the cancer, except when it's coming close to going for an appointment, blood work or CAT scan. Then we start to get a bit anxious. But other than that, we don't even really think about it. You know,
No.
It was there, it's gone, let's live
I'm
life.
good. That's right.
We really have hope of a cancer-free future.
Yes.
However, we also believe that should it come back, we're gonna defeat it again.
My family encourages me, and I got Dave here. He's my partner, my right and left hand.
Number one fan.
Number one. He's like my strong tower. Yeah.
So, you know, it's been a good ride for us. It really has. It was rough at the time, as we explained earlier, but the results, ongoing results, not just temporary, but ongoing results, is fabulous. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. And I would personally, you know, anybody whose loved one is facing it, their doctor recommends it, whatever, just as long as they're told what they can face, I would recommend it for anyone. Even knowing that the neurotoxicity can be a bit severe at times, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
Right.
This is Shahzad. I'm diagnosed with the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, diffuse large B cells, in February 2016.
My name is Nicole, and I am his advocate and caregiver.
No, April Plus was quite smooth. There was no problem in that.
We were more excited than anything. We really weren't worried about anything.
I was very aware of all the side effects, particularly the cytokine release syndrome and the neurotoxicity. The first time was the only time he had side effects. The second time, there were no side effects whatsoever. So once he was released from the hospital, it was daily clinic visits initially, and then each week they tapered down. And it was just basically the cognitive tests, you know, do you know where you are, what day it is, who's the president, over and over. You know, they asked for any side effects, they tested his blood, and just overall just a check-in. And the rest of the time it was normal living. I mean, he did have to wear the mask. And I cooked all the meals because he was neutropenic naturally. But, you know, we went for walks and just did everything normally as we could. The 30-day scan was absolutely clear. Everybody was shocked. It was amazing. He felt amazing. He told me he'd never felt that good since before his diagnosis. And then all the other scans were clear up until the 6-month point. And then the cancer returned. And he didn't know. He had no side effects. He had no knowledge of the cancer even returning. It was only the PET scan that told us. And then the second CAR T, there was significant improvement on the first, the 30-day scan, not complete remission. So we were hopeful, but the 60-day scan showed progression. So it was not successful at all. And long-term side effects, there have been none whatsoever. And yeah, I went on life as normal as well. Our support system was pretty much just by phone calls and FaceTime. We had neighbors take care of the house while we were gone, and everything else we were just able to take care of ourselves. Coping as a caregiver is just as difficult in just a different way. I don't have the physical ailments, but emotionally it's extremely challenging, especially because we had a young son at the time, and
making sure that he was emotionally okay with it. You know, yeah, I did depend on my friends at times. Most of the time I was in business mode, but every once in a while they would just catch up to me and
Thank you. Yeah, just want to add that also, because I wasn't all, she would not have, been such taking interest in that, such knowledgeable in this one, it would have been extremely hard for me to go through this.
There are Facebook groups that are dedicated to CAR T, both who have been through the process and who are going through the experience now. And that's really where I started, and it just branched out from there. But there's a lot of support and resources available.
Yeah.
I think for any patient starting from diagnosis needs to have someone there with them at every doctor visit, because they can take notes or record and ask questions in a non-emotional state, because as a patient, you're overwhelmed, your mind is running 1,000 miles an hour with all kinds of feelings and emotions, and you need someone there with clarity to get you through that process from day one. Whether it's a spouse or a child or a friend, someone that is just not emotionally involved in the diagnosis, but can be a facilitator side by side.
Yeah. Caregiver is a very important role.